Hello, tribe. Hey, have you ever been in a situation or you ever had a friend who was in a dysfunctional relationship? Or maybe they were in a relationship with someone who was abusing them physically and verbally, where they were being mistreated, but somehow they couldn't just stay where, like, live and maybe take care of themselves. It's like they know what is good for them and they know the relationship is not serving their best interest, but somehow they just find themselves stuck in the relationship. It's like anytime they want to make a decision to leave, they try to find a reason as to why they should stay. So for example, they say, I my boyfriend maybe assaulted me yesterday. They beat me up. He called me this and this, and I'm really not okay with that. But I just can't find a way to leave the relationship. Oh, but there's this time he treated me really well and I liked it. So it's like this person knows that the relationship is not okay or it's not serving their best interests, but maybe for some reason that they at some point the partner acted well or they were kind of good to them. They are like, but he's always kind sometimes. I don't know what happened this time. Oh, we've had this and these times, all the time we've taken to invest into this, all the things we've given into the relationship. I just can't let it go. And you're looking at them and you're like, okay, you can't let it go, but you're really suffering. It's like you lose yourself in this relationship. So, welcome to the Rising Again podcast. My name is Samuel Wesonga, and today I want to talk about something so pertinent. And first of all, before I proceed, let me. So, there's this book here. The book is called Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. So, this book talks about the different attachment traits for people, and the first one is anxious. There are people who have an anxious attachment trait. So these are people who are often preoccupied with their relationships and tend to worry about their partner's ability to love them back. Then we have the avoidant. The avoidant are people who equate intimacy with a loss of independence and constantly try to minimize closeness. And then number three, we have secure. The people with secure attachment trait feel comfortable with intimacy and are usually warm and loving. Okay, so first of all, let me admit I said I'm not perfect and I'm still working on myself. So I think I still embody the attachment or the avoidant attachment trait. Because sometimes I remember when there was this time I was dating, and anytime I felt like, especially the girl was so much in my space, I could feel like, no, you're suffocating me, I'm losing my autonomy. So just leave me alone. Like, I need some time on my own. I don't really like where this is going to. So that's why also I was going through a lot of shit, and I just had to take a break and work on myself. So I could say, like, I've worked so much on healing, and now I want to become a secure person so that when I get into marriage, at least I won't be that person who is making the marriage to fail or to fall, or I'll not be committed because I still have these flaws that I needed to work on. So kindly look for this book. It's called Attached. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it if you're in Nairobi in the street. So okay, so basically I wanted to talk about uh, trauma bonding and what trauma bonding is. So we've talked about the attachment personality traits, and mostly it's someone who has an anxious attachment personality and someone who has an avoidant, and but theirs is an extreme one. It's like they've now become narcissists, you see. So okay, so for example, and it's really weird how these relationships start off. So a girl meets a dude and she's like, oh, when I set my eyes on him, I really, like, time stopped. I could feel all these butterflies in my stomach. I really liked him. So it's like the idea of love at first sight. Like, we met and we just fell in love on the first day. So it's like people always pressure you to get into a relationship with them so quickly because they pamper you with so much romance that you can't even make a rational decision. I know women are so emotional, but at some point when you're making such trivial decisions, you need to consider if this is really gonna work for you in the long run. You know, women are also they also consider security before they get into a relationship. Like, I'm getting into a relationship with this guy. Does he have anything? Is he working on anything? How is my future with him gonna look like? What type of family are we gonna raise? How will we raise our kids? What kind of life will they have? And so basically that's why I tend to tell young people, like, focus your early 20s on working on yourself, so that the moment you're ready for marriage, at least you have a foundation. You don't need to have everything, and you won't have everything, but you should have a foundation, so that when you get into a relationship, you also look for someone who has the character, who has worked on themselves, so that sometimes girls tell you, oh, I can't date a broke guy. It's okay, yeah, we respect your decision, but okay, I am only 23 right now, and I need to work on myself, and I've taken that grace period. But it's also rational. As long as you have your reservations, you also, what are you bringing to the table as a woman? Okay, the guy should bring all these other aspects, so it's like mutual. Everyone should come with a particular aspect, so that we now work together as a team. So, okay, let's look at what trauma bonding is. So, as I've told you, it's usually the idea of love at first sight. So, these people get obsessed with each other at the preliminary stages of the relationship. And when you talk to your friends, you ask your friend, by the way, I've been dating this, I found this guy, and I just love him. I don't know why, but I just love him. I can't restrict myself, I can't restrain myself from just falling in love. Then your friends ask you, have you really tried to check his life? Does he take alcohol? Yes, but I still love him. He can still control it. So your friends try to help you think, or be rational, but in a way, or if it's a guy also, you've met a woman and you can't restrict yourself, because they are sly. These women they have so much sexual energy. Like, you get to meet them and you just can't breathe. You are hypnotized. It's called hypnotization. A girl hypnotizes you, and all you can think about is her. So that is the aspect of how trauma bonding works. I remember there was a time when I was starting out as a person or self-improvement coach. I met this girl, and she was going through trauma. And kind of weird in a way, I couldn't just stop thinking about saving her. You see, and I made a mistake. We almost started dating, and when I got back, it really affected me, and I was like, how did this relationship start? Was I really intentional about getting here? How am I even dating someone who was not healed? And honestly, before I took the decision to work on myself, it really had worked on me. Like, the trauma had become my part. So, trauma bonding comes from your primary relationship with your caregivers. So, for example, if a lady has seen her parents, like your mom stayed in an abusive relationship, and most likely she just had to find a reason to stay. It's like your dad was beating her up, but she was like, oh, but I have kids in marriage. Oh, but Nini, he provides. Oh, but so okay. So in kind of way, your mom or your dad taught you to always compromise, or to find a reason to fault, or to find a reason why you should stay. So that's why when you get into a relationship with someone, you always try to find a reason as to why you should stay in the relationship. When on the face value, the relationship is toxic, it's killing you, it's shattering you apart. But you always try to give yourself an excuse as to why you should stay. So until you fix your issues from your childhood, the issues you had that emanate from your childhood, you won't really date in a healthy way. First of all, you'll either be avoidant, as I was, or two, you'll be anxious. For example, if you are abandoned as a kid, you either develop anxious attachment trait, or you develop an avoidant. Some people really feel obsessive, like they really need the space of their partner. It's like you can't stay on your own. Every time you are free, or anytime, it's like 24 hours, you're always obsessed about your relationship. You have work, but it's affecting your workflow and everything. Yeah. So, and then the avoidant have really learned to survive on their own. So it's like anytime they feel like they are losing their independence and autonomy, they push you away, because in a way the world has taught them to rely on themselves. And I remember I was this. So anytime a woman would get close to me, I'll be like, okay, what do you want from me? You know, I'm losing my independence, I'm losing my control, I don't want to lose my autonomy. Okay, so we've talked about the need to fix your relationship or the past. Okay, you don't fix the past, but you change how it affects you. We were in a training by the Albane Institute. So it's an organization founded by Mr. Paul Boyd, and they were teaching us about stress management, trauma, and how to cope with stress, anxiety. So they taught us skills like breath work and everything. So you need to first of all identify the patterns. And Mr. Boyle gave us a story of this woman whose father was a soldier. I give a disclaimer, so I want to disclose everything. The father was a soldier, and he was abusive because he was a drunkard. So he was an alcoholic, and he used to beat the mom up. So when this woman married, she was married to someone who was abusive and alcoholic. These other two, like, she repeated the pattern for at least 3 times. So you find out that if you don't really consider changing, like you don't really consider your past, it has a way of repeating itself. You know, human beings are creatures of patterns. So if you don't really try and analyze the effect of your past on your current life, you'll always reciprocate that. So that's why, let me give you let me be frank and tell you something so honestly. People in secure relationships do not have this, like, let me say, just say, like, secure relationships are boring compared to people who are either in avoidant and anxious, or avoidant and avoidance can't work close. It's mostly, in most cases, avoidant and anxious people. Because you see, in secure relationships, there's a stable standard. It's like this person has worked on themselves. They really know that they can't harm this other person. They are they feel okay with intimacy, with, okay, and they respect their spouse or their partner. But for people in avoidant or narcissistic relationships, or maybe this trauma bond type of relationships, will always have a high and they have a low. So you'll be stripped off, you'll feel bad, but then it's like you brought back to this high moment for once. So there's no consistent, or there's no equilibrium for this relationship. It's like you'll be taken high and low. So for example, let me give you an illustrator, link this to a gambling. You see, when a gambler wins some money, they'll always get this high dopamine thrill, and when they lose money, they always get low. So the gambler is always trying to get this high moment. So it means that, like, they have to put so much work to get here, because in most cases they always lose. So they try as much as they can to win, and that's why you find them really losing a lot of money, because at the end of the day the house wins. Okay, so this trauma bond type of relationships are this way. There's that intimate or the sensational moment, but it's followed by a sequence, or a sequence of abusive patterns. For example, your partner is dismissing you, they slap you, sometimes they even get emotionally abusive, but you're always expecting this intimate moment. So you always try to find, for example, if you come, as I told you, they beat you up, but you're telling your friends, but you know, the other time he came, he was really romantic, and she was really romantic, we had good sex, and I don't know why this happened this time. So always try to find a reason as to why you can justify their excuses. So to you, and based on your childhood experience, you don't see this as a problem, despite the fact that this relationship is really affecting you and it's really shattering you apart. Okay, so as we've analyzed trauma bonding, some people have father issues or mother issues. So, for example, when you're a kid, your mom didn't like you, she hated you. And so, when you're looking for men, you look for. Sorry. So, I don't know. This, in most cases, is about. The mother issues is about girls. Like, I don't know, they're trying to look for. I don't know how to explain the mother issue very well compared to the father issue. But for mother issue, I think your mother maybe didn't like something about you, or your mother thought that you are competing for attention with your dad. Yeah, so it's about the sigmoid fluid or what? It's like the sons they build more relationship with their mothers, and the daughters with their father. So your mom, in a way, really didn't like how much love your dad had for you, and she always tried to find a reason as to why they should make you feel low, and that affects your self-esteem. Then for the father issues is about men. Sorry, yeah, it's like, okay, sorry, I have confused this. So the mother issues is about men who had a very bad relationship with their mothers, and they try so much to date older women. Have you ever met your friend who is always into older women, and you see a man who is 20 liking a woman who is 35, and you're like, bro, are you for real? Like, you like this girl, she's 30, for God's sake. But in some reason they just find them attractive. Or the father issues is a woman who tries to look for their father in every man she meets. So they're always trying to seek fatherly love and instinct. And it will fail, because your partner can never become your dad. So until you heal from your trauma, you'll always look for your dad, especially if you're a woman. You'll always try to look for a dad in your partner. For example, for girls whose parents were like, their dads deserted them, they were deadbeat, they'll always try to date older women. So a girl tells you, for some reason, I just find older women attractive. It's not about the older women, older men. It's just about they are trying to look for their fathers in men. So anytime they see young men, they feel like, they are not attractive to them, because there's a pattern in their head. It's in their subconscious mind. They want to feel validated because they lacked that fatherly support and instinct. And for the guys, it's now dating older women. So we try to demystify the reason as to why you're trying to date older men or older women. And I've explained trauma bonding. Maybe I haven't covered everything, but just try to make sure that before you get into a relationship, you've healed. I meet so many people in relationships, then I ask them, what is your attachment trait? They don't know if they are secure, they don't know if they are avoidant, they don't know if they are anxious. Then how is the relationship gonna work if you are not secure? So young people, make sure that before you get into a relationship, first you heal. 2 is self-awareness. 3, know your worth. Then 4, date at the right season and look for the right person. Until next time, my people, I'll see you. Remember to commit your life to God. Remember to stay hydrated and choose yourself always, because I think you deserve the best. Not I think, you deserve the best. So know your worth and do not commit for anything that is lower, below, or beneath your standards. Peace.